Hello lords and ladies, I have a very exciting battle for you today. This is the town battle from Pennsic 49. Pennsic the largest event in the Society for Creative Anachronism. This is not just the first battle of that war, but it is my first melee battle ever. The front ranks especially are making a mad dash to the middle of the field where you'll see a series of hay bales. Those hay bales represent the walls of the buildings in the town, and those are the objectives. We need to hold the majority of the buildings the majority of the time in order to win by points. The marshals will be checking who's in control of each building at the 20, 40, and 60-minute marks. This is an unlimited resurrection battle, meaning if you're killed, you just have to run to the sideline and back again to continue to fight. You're seeing shots from two cameras. One is mounted on a pole above my back for third-person shots, and one is mounted just above my left eye for first person. I was aiming at the spearman in black and blue, but just in the last moment, a different spearman lunges and the arrow deflects off the top of his helmet. In SCA combat archery, the legal target areas are the face, the torso, the arms, and the legs. Places that don't count would be other parts of the helmet other than the face, the hands, the wrists, any kind of shield or weapon, as well as the knees and below. None of those are good. So that guy who took the deflection, he's not dead. Skipping forward a little bit here as fighting resumes after a hold, I take aim at a spearman with a very impressive headdress and miss wide and to the right. After the shot, I'm going to start editing it as a highlight reel, so pay attention to the timestamp in the bottom right corner. I'll probably be skipping a few minutes or seconds. I take one more shot at the headdress spearman, and unfortunately it deflects off of a spear and then comes in sideways, so that's not a good hit either. And right at that moment, we begin to lose the cathedral on our right to the enemy team. About 40 seconds passes as I move away from the cathedral and get my first killing shot of this battle. I aim at a spear person and the shot deflects off the side of their helmet. I don't think that was a good kill, but they took it anyways. And when I'm reviewing whether these kills were good or not on the film, I'm not criticizing anybody involved. Wide to the right on the person I was aiming for, and below the knee on the person in the background. Yeah, so you spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to get all of your gear and your travel to the event, and you practice for weeks or months, and then when you're there, the honorable thing to do is to walk off the field if you aren't sure if you're alive. So almost the whole time I'm just kind of confused and leaving because I'm unsure, and I think everybody's just doing their best, so it's interesting to see what the statistics are. Even on those few occasions where I was sure I was right or they were sure they were right, we were both wrong commonly. At this point I started having trouble with my quiver. It was falling apart as I was pulling arrows out. And I also realized that I wasn't actually contributing to the objective, which was to capture the buildings. So I've circled around now, and I'm trying to find a shot into the cathedral to help with the massive enemy team members who are currently holding the front door. A killing blow to the jaw. The front door of the cathedral already had 3 of our archers there, and the group that I was actually fighting with, Sable Mall, is fighting just to the left of the cathedral, so I returned to that general area to try to soften up the enemy line. A hit and a kill. When there are enough people in front of me, or especially when I'm aiming and my hand is in most of my field of view, I start losing track where the walls are of the building in front of me. So this shot would be invalid, but luckily it missed wide anyways. It's been a hold for about 40 seconds and I'm wrestling with my quiver, which continues to fall apart. At the 6-minute mark, one marshal yells, "Lay on." A few seconds later, a different marshal yells, "Rise if you're able," which is something they only yell during the hold. With the confusion around the hold, we ignore this shot, but it would have been good.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
It's a continued comedy of errors here. My quiver is flipped around and I haven't quite figured that out yet, so every time I draw an arrow, I fumble with it for a while it's facing the wrong way. I'm also not drawing to full draw. You see that the arrow sticks out a few inches beyond the bow, and I've been doing this consistently, or inconsistently, the whole battle. So this will cause the range and the power behind each shot to be different. And finally, I actually completely drop an arrow and butterfingers and catch it, just as an enemy archer gets me in their sights and misses over my head. And let's see that shot again. Huge props to the shieldmen for noticing I was aiming at the spearmen next to them and guarding their upper body with their shield. Unfortunately for them, I aimed kind of low, or missed kind of low, and hit them in the thigh, which they took as a killing blow.
Your leg! Good!
I took that shot because I heard it hit my quiver, and that could have been anywhere between my thigh and my ankle. Looking at this footage afterwards, it seems like the arrow was in the grass, so it was probably below my knee, but I took it as I was unsure.
Where's the res point? The line. Oh, this line, okay, awesome.
I think it's kind of humorous that I didn't know where the line was to res, even 8 minutes into the battle, because that was my first death. When I switch to short sword and shield after I run out of arrows, I become extremely well acquainted with where the res line is. It's insane how much faster crossbow bolts are than arrows. I'm going to slow this down twice as much as I do arrows. Once more in real time.
Good! What?
That was to the back of your helm, right?
I don't know. Was it?
That was an arrow that hit you here. That's
Okay. Thank you.
After that near-death experience, I'm again starting to lose track of exactly where the door to the cathedral is and who is protected by the wall of hay bales. It's not quite audible, but he explains that he's inside the building, and I apologize.
My bad!
Skipping forward a bit after a hold, my fellow combat crossbowmen suggest that we go to the other side of the cathedral to help. There are a lot of enemy combat archers wreaking havoc. I'm still scanning for a target when an enemy archer takes a shot near me. Rewind, zoom, enhance. I aim at an archer and miss wide and right. Just now I notice the female archer is aiming right at me again and start stutter stepping left to right. Let's see that again. A really great shot on her part, barely skimming past the person in front of me to almost hit me, even with my attempt to dodge.
Oh, sorry.
Unfortunately, I think she ran out of arrows just at that point and had to leave the field. This is probably my best shot of the day, lobbing over an infantryman to hit the opposing combat archer. You can see here that the bowstring is catching on my armor and releasing the arrow like 3 inches before it normally should. And this kind of unpredictable interaction between some piece of my armor and my technique kept happening, and somehow I hit the shot, but over the next few battles I did really badly, and it's easy to see why. I've always been told to shoot the combat archers first, and after that shoot people who seem to be leading, so when this guy pointed, he was the next target. I'm circling back now to where I started on the left side of the cathedral. The fighting at the front door is a stalemate, and I hope if we can win the left door, we can sweep in from behind and win the cathedral back. As I'm approaching, a shieldman who's just been killed by the spearmen gives me a side quest.
Go get him.
I think this shot looks good. At the time I told him not to take it, but my bad phrasing made that unclear.
You're good. You're good. I said that backwards. I should have said no and shook my head.
All this time, I'm slowly walking to the left and have made it all the way to the next building past the cathedral. I see an archer with a black helmet, black bow, and yellow gloves, and begin to aim, but don't realize he's already walking away by the time I loose the arrow. I back up here because I'm afraid somebody will sprint through the weak point in our line and kill me. Unfortunately, this means I have no cover from enemy archers. It's crazy how much faster bolts are than arrows. I'm going to play this at 1/8 speed rather than the usual 1/4 speed, and I'm going to have to start zooming in by 1000%, where I normally zoom in 200%. I have the strongest bow I'm allowed to bring to this battle, but at range, crossbows have a clear advantage. And that's not a commentary on the historical qualities of these weapons. It's the case that in the SCA, the rules for the maximum draw weight of bows and crossbows are different, and they're not tied to any specific physical principle like achieving the same projectile speed, momentum, or kinetic energy. I'm returning fire on that crossbowman now, and I'll play these clips in 1/8 speed just for the sake of comparison. The bolt traveled from him to me in 32 milliseconds, and my arrow travels from me to him in almost a full second. And I think it's totally badass, but it's not so surprising that somebody's able to pick it up with their shield and protect the person behind them that I was aiming at. I take one more shot at the same crossbowman and miss wide. Skipping forward a bit, the enemy breaks through our line. I can hear the clink as the spearman right in front of me is taken out by a crossbow bolt. I'm intending to aim at the crossbowman in orange, but I kill the spearman in purple just in front of him.
Archer, they got a crossbowman that's kicking our ass. See if you can take him out.
I'm just aiming at him, yes.
Be aware.
The shieldsmen have plenty of time to raise their guard, but I'm aiming and hit the crossbowman behind them.
Got him. Ooh, almost dropped one.
Person in a fancy helmet and cape was discussing tactics with people, so I shot at him and hit him in the leg. It looked kind of low, but he did take it. Skipping forward a few seconds, I aim at an enemy crossbowman and miss wide to the right. As we approach 18 minutes since the start of the battle, we've pushed forward about as far as we've ever been. I take aim at an enemy combat archer as they draw their next arrow. I've shot all the arrows that fit in my quiver, so I run to the sideline to get my last 7 arrows that I own, and just as I return, a hold is called.
That shot that you asked me if it was good, my first melee, I said it's not good. I should have just said no and shook my head. That was my bad.
Thumbs up, man, it was good. No, I thought it was right on the line, so I just took it.
Skipping forward to my first shot after the hold. I miss wide and to the left of the archer, who's just walking back now. I'm aiming at that crossbowman, but I only have a few arrows left, and end up taking a blind shot, arcing over a few people, and misreading where he was going to move, missing to the right.
You can tell where I'm standing because there's a camera on my... Oh, good!
Looking back on this, that shot actually hit me in the weapon, which doesn't count by the rules. Drop a comment with your suggestion of if people should or should not take such a hit and count it as a death. Once I walk back from rezzing, there was a hold for a few minutes, and then I get my second chance to explain to the same knight that again I've shot him, but it's no good.
It's no good! I'm already dead! It's no good! Stop him!
Right as I get back from rezzing, I dodge an arrow. Now that arrows clued me in on their rough position, even though I can't see them. They seem unhappy. I'm down to my last 3 arrows, and I notice there are just pieces of my quiver all over the ground around me. A little while later, after a hold, I hear our front line warning each other about a crossbow hidden in the enemy ranks.
Wait, where's the crossbow? Where's the crossbow at?
He's in here. He's hiding. There's also an archer right there in red.
Is it Leon?
It is Leon.
It's Leon! Oh wait, that's not an archer. Oh, there, yeah.
A spearman walks in front of the archer in red, and I miss high and to the right. This next shot is my smoothest draw and release, and I'm going to credit that to the person who complimented me.
Oh, thank you.
Just barely hit them in the thigh. This is my last arrow, so of course I nearly drop it.
Got it.
If you watch how much of the arrow sticks out past my hand, you'll see that as I strafe around, I'm letting more and more go, so this shot has less and less power. I'm way short. I'm aiming at the archer in the black helmet, but hit somebody in front of them in the thigh.
I'm out. I'm all the way out.
So I step out to get my sword and shield and put away my archery stuff, and there's a hold, so all these people are rezzing at once the hold is over. I don't really know where I should be standing, where it's useful for me to go, so I just go to the place where our line seems the most broken. So this is the first time I fought against spears. I don't really know how to defend or guard against that, and it's even worse because the camera that's on my head adds another, 4 inches or so where you could hit me in the helmet with a good solid blow. So I'll cut to any time that we actually charge in or I die. But overall, I had my sword and shield for about 1/3 of the battle, and I imagine there's not 1/3 of the YouTube video left, so you can imagine how much more seldom there's a highlight from this and how much more walking back and forth and rezzing there is.
Good.
Sorry, bro. I didn't know you were doing that.
Super hard to tell if you're dead. Bunch of contact on your shield, lots of loud noises. There's a spear haft that's coming into my face, but that's not the pointy end, doesn't count. A sword does hit me in the back. Never see that happen just from all the noise being around that many people. Just assume I'm dead if it's been more than a second or two.
Yeah, tell me to do whatever you think I should. This is my first melee, so.
We're in a tough spot. I'll say that much. Go!
Good, good. Good. Good.
Watch the spears coming. Oh, nice shot.
Good. Good.
The swordsman in blue is giving me the stink eye at this point.
Did you get me? Okay.
I picked up most of it on my sword, a little bit of it on my shield. The last little bit glances off the top of my head, and even then it's flat. His sword is turned 90 degrees from where the sharp edge would be. And I don't blame him, it's hard to tell in the heat of battle. And that brings us just about to the end of the battle. There's not much more that happens. I die one more time, and then the battle ends. They do the final point, and the East Kingdom, with blue tape on their helmets, are declared the winner. Give you some statistics on the way out. So as an archer, I fought for the first 2/3 of the battle. I had 35 arrows, 17 were misses, 15 were hits, one of them was dropped on the ground, and 2 of them, I don't know, I didn't keep track of them. I've been editing for 20 hours, so I'm not going to go back through again and try to find those 2. But out of those 15 that hit in some way, there were 13 that looked like they should have been kills, and 12 of those were taken and 1 of them was not noticed. And that means there were 2 that were definitely not kills, but the people took them anyways. Finally, as an archer, I think I counted that I died 4 times, and out of those 4 times, 1 of those looked like a good, clean kill, and the other 3 probably wouldn't have counted if I had noticed exactly what was going on. I switched to shield after that, and was sword and shield for 1/3 of the battle. I died 8 times. I killed 0 people. Out of the 8 times that I died, all of them looked good except 1. And kill death is really not a good way to look at this sort of thing. The scenario is to capture buildings. It really doesn't matter how many people you kill. Unfortunately, the groups I was fighting in, we never successfully defended a building or pushed into one. I was mostly just trying to keep part of the line from breaking and having us be routed by being surrounded. So at least I guess it was successful in that respect. We never had that happen. Yeah, looking forward to being a little bit better, getting out there again, maybe having more of a plan with the people I'm fighting with. If you like this video, I really appreciate if you'd subscribe to get the next one, like, or leave a comment. It's about $1,000 in camera gear, a bunch of hours making the custom mounts to keep it, all alive during fighting, and 20 hours of editing on this video. I'm going to do a lighter touch on the future videos, maybe a little bit less editing, and just let the video speak for itself. But I think it was cool, as it was my first battle, to kind of see what I was thinking about, all the mistakes I was making. Hopefully, if you're new or you're considering joining the SCA, you can get a sense for the adrenaline and the chaos of battle. Thank you.